Now remember, we are in the first stages of making our 8-bit computer, and normally I like starting with the RAM. Then I go to the program counter and instruction register. I go down to the control unit and I add the ROM. Then I go to the power supply unit and I finish off with this other side where we have the register A, register B, and arithmetic and logic unit with the output. So this is the first circuit. So this is the RAM. This is a RAM IC. It's a D436 RAM chip, and I've connected the address lines. So you just connect to connect the address lines. It has 13 address lines, but I'm going to use 8 of them. So the 8 address lines, I've connected them to these 4 deep switches, which I've connected them together to make an 8 address line, 8-bit address line, which goes to the RAM, and the other remaining address lines to 13, I've just connected them to ground, around 5 of them. So you can see I've just connected them to ground because we are not using them. Now if you were to use them, then you just release it and connect your address switch. But if you're not using it, just connect to ground to avoid the D436 to have a floating pin while it's doing its normal program. Then I think you need also to check the datasheet of this IC before you start connecting anything, because it will help you understand the RAM itself. Right here we have a transistor and it's connected to pin number 27, I think, pin number 27, which is the write enable pin. So I've connected the transistor. Later on, if I want to write to the RAM, then I have to use this transistor as a switch to switch the mode from read enable to write enable. Now when you switch to write enable, now the RAM is ready to receive your data, which I'm going to add, which I'm going to connect these two deep switches, which are going to be used to program the RAM. Now the best thing about this RAM, I like it because the input pins are the same as the output. So it just depends on how you connect and how you control the enable pins for the RAM to know if you are writing, if the pin is used as an input or an output. So when it's used as an output, that means that the write enable pin should be off, because we are not writing. If we now want to input data, then the pin should be in write enable. Yes. Also right here we have an IC. This we are going to talk about it later on in our next videos. Also this IC we are going to be talking about it, but this is just the start. Now these are the address lines, and if I toggle the address lines, you can see the output shifts. These are just random numbers and random binary bits, which were stored inside, which are still remaining inside the RAM. But in normal conditions, the RAM should not store any data because it's random access memory. The data is usually volatile, so immediately you power off, it forgets everything that it has. The difference is actually the difference to the ROM, because the ROM stores the data. But this one, immediately you power off, it should forget. But it has this sort of codes inside, which are not usually useful. We're just going to erase them when we want to now run a program inside the RAM. Yeah, so this is the first part of the circuit. We are still going to add the ROM later on, but from this side, from that point, we are going to go down until I feel that we have done the first part of the control unit before we just shift to the ROM and the other side of the circuits. Yeah, so tune in, don't miss out. You can share this video to as many people. I'm going to arrange it as a playlist, so you can just find every single episode that we are going to be making our 8-bit computer. Yeah.